Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a special Tuesday stream edition. We're picking up on my 2007 South Jersey Circle, which unfortunately I've labeled this part 1 of 2, and I meant part 2 of 2. I'll fix those all up later. Yesterday, we saw CP Woodbury, stuff at 30th Street Station, CP Woodbury, Paulsboro Movable Bridge. And we have finally reached the Pureland Industrial Park, home of the SMS line's short line. SMS, I think I've heard is, there's a question, it might stand for the, I've heard it stands for the guy's initials. I tend to just consider it to be switching management service. They both work the Pureland Industrial Park right off 295 in South Jersey. They have worked you've previously seen the Penn Warner Industrial Park near Morrisville, and they have a third operation up in Albany, another sort of an industrial park shoreline. A great line. This guy's the guy who owns it is big into Baldwins. Owns one of the largest fleets of operable Baldwins anywhere. I mean, he owns a fleet of them. Because it's more than one, and he's just he's working on a tourist operation on the recently restored Salem branch to Salem, New Jersey. So sort of like a miniature Reading in Northern, and it's also Reading themed, as you'll see. So we're starting off with some backlot photos of his many Baldwin spare parts, in this case air compressors. Today hopefully might be a little longer than normal, which it's already pretty long, but I'll see if I can have less side trips. Today we're going to be covering, in addition to the Pureland Industrial Park, we're going to be finishing up our trip at Hook Interlocking in Marcus Hook, Pennsylvania, or specifically Marcus Hook, adjacent to Hook Interlocking. Here we have fuel tanks and air reservoirs. When you're working with something as old as Baldwin's, you need to basically collect everything. Also note there's some journal bearings, gear train covers, you name it. This guy has it. And like I said, he does buy from. There's been a couple instances where he's bought stuff from museums. Some of their less useful items to be used for either parts or restoration. So here we have, I think it's the only operable AS616 Baldwin, lettered in SMS. I said uses a Reading motif, slightly different than Reading in Northern. They do use the sort of the green Reading diamond. This was known as a very heavy hauler back in the day. I'm sure this is used to good effect. When I visited the headquarters in 2007, this guy was making the rounds. As I mentioned last time, SMS tries to be railfan friendly, but they opened up a chemical transloading facility right at their main shop complex, located right there. So that required them to have a little bit more on-site security. So now the visits have to be prearranged. Let's see if I can pull up the AS616. I guess not. Oh, yeah, there it is. The AS616 was a Baldwin road switcher built between 1950 and 1954. I'm not sure exactly which one this one is, but they only made, it looks like, about 220. Oops, got disconnect. There you go. And these all tend to be, when I say when I say they're originals, that they use the Baldwin prime mover. They're not something like the Beep, where they've been re-engined in some way. Here we have another. Baldwins all tend to look the same. Part of the reason of the success of EMD versus Baldwin and the other builders wasn't necessary. It was during World War II. EMD was the only, by War Production Board, EMD was the only one allowed to make road freight. Everybody else could either do steam locomotives or switchers. This was to try to prevent retooling for new, products during the war effort. But it kind of put Alco Baldwin a step behind EMD in competing in future markets. This is number 102. Let's see if the wiki page on SMS Lines has a roster. I have an SMS Lines catalog. What do you call those things? Oops, SLS, wrong one. I have a calendar someone gave me, but here we go. Alright, I guess it's not there. Here we go. Diesel Shop seems to have everything these days. Number 102. Oh, this is a different thing. Hold on. Yep, it's SLRS number 102, and if I go to their doohickey here, that is a DS44-750. So Baldwin had sort of 3 zones of switchers: the VO series, the DS series diesel switcher 4.4 750 horsepower, and then they finally tried to change their marketing to like S12 switcher 1200 horsepower. So this is one of those intermediate levels of Baldwin. PRSL had a lot from this era. This one was from Youngstown Sheet and Tube number 701. I don't know if this has been repainted. Again, these things are these are 10 plus year old photos. Oops, damn. Here we have both of them working together. You can see they're starting to pave it in for what would eventually become the transloading facility. Yeah, if it wasn't for that, they would probably have their policy would be very similar to Reading and Northern, where they're just like, come on in and don't get in the way. Whoops. How did I skip this photo? Why am I just randomly skipping these? Next. This is some sort of EMD switcher, number 1412. You can see all those yellow ones. Those are Erie Mining Baldwins. I think some of them came from a museum, but that was a lot of their parts stash. This is labeled Rapano 14 RP 1424. Let's see if it's on the roster page. SW14. Did I get that wrong? 1424. This is going to be hard to figure out. Let's REPAUNO. Oh, it's a port and rail terminal. Must have been. It's from a nearby port facility. Oh, I'm not going to figure out what that is. Let me see what I labeled it as back in the day. Probably RP. Come on. Oops. Next, number 9423. Let's check the roster. All right, at least I have a reporting mark that's AR. It looks like an Air Force. AFRX number 9423. Oh, it's an SW1. Look at that. Looks like he was last seen. He's still sitting in the yard there. Wait, hold on. Bridgeport, New Jersey. It's NHRR. What the hell is that? No, it's the same point, same place. Guess it's in New Haven. Anyway, AFRX 9423. I guess it's stored out of service right now. Probably bought it. I'm betting that's Air Force. AF Railway Industries. Okay, I guess it's not the Air Force then. Here we have him again. What is up with me? Oh, there it is. Wait, hold on. No. Yeah, it looks like I was trimming any similar photos for whatever reason. There we go. What I can do, just say it's, give it the number of that gone. 708189. And I got a new photo. Well, it's nice to be pulling up all these new photos here. One thing I can do real quick is, do I have that thing here? No, I do not. Yeah, I think that, okay. This is a cute little tie. I'm not sure if this is what the actual. I don't know my maintenance of way equipment. But this little guy is super cute, whatever it is. I think it's a tamper. And here we have another one that I randomly cut of the tamper in the number 544. I'm going to call it a speeder. That's a better... Sorry, I don't have a lot of commentary. I'm just trying to work my way through the photos here. There we go. And we have this guy with the conductor. Alrighty. And back to the MOW speeder. There we go. I'm also trying to move a little more quickly today. Let me see if we've gotten any questions here in a second. Yep, that's the right one right on there. All right, anybody have any questions about stuff? Oh, he got some people. Yes, it's just like that Delaware Lackawanna is for Alcos. SMS is the Baldwin place. Spike puller? Okay. I'll just rename that. Thanks for the heads up there. All right. Looks like we're going to be getting out of Pureland in a little bit, but not that quickly. I'd love to know what number Erie Mining that is. Oh, it's like number 7 something or other. Oh. Told you that they like to strip these guys down. There's 724. So it looks like, yeah, he's got 3 Erie Mining. 2 of them don't have trucks. Oops. Alright, was able to find a way to differentiate that one. Yeah, I don't know which one this one is. Let's just see. I bet I didn't do it. There it is. Erie Mining. I bet. Here we go. Cliffs Erie Railroad. Oh, it's LTVX. Wait, what? Huh? What? Opened by Erie Mining Company to transport taconite. LTV Steel purchased it. Okay, so it is LTVX. Let's verify what that reporting mark is. EMTX. Alright, I'm going to go with that one. So normally why am I not going these with an SMS reporting mark? If they're in the original roster with their original markings and numbers, I'm going to go for the original owner. That's just going to be the more common search. This looks like a VO type. You can see that front is a little bit more Art Deco-y. I don't know exactly what type of VO type Baldwin this is. It's going to be a 1000 or a 660. Those are the 2 horsepower options. I know that I've seen more recent photos of this guy. And this got the full restoration treatment by the time we'd gotten there. So this is B&O number 412 on the SMS things. Yep, B&O. It is a VO 1000, ex-U.S. Navy. So he won't take anything. He'll paint it to whatever. I'm not sure this would have been originally this. Next, we have the spare crankshaft. You got to have a spare crankshaft. I'm assuming it's a Baldwin. They only had like 6 or 8 cylinder engines. Really crazy. Just what the they were low speed, low RPM luggers, giant cylinders. I think one of them was 8 inches by 11 inches. Absolutely huge. I mean, they're diesel. I mean, they are diesel in auto diesel sense of the word. Here we have what looks like an AAR switcher truck. Let's note all the wonderful General Steel castings been on. The AAR switcher truck, of which I think those are ones over there, was a standard truck for diesel switchers designed by the AAR in the 30s. I think Alco might have gone with their own designs. There were a couple AAR switcher trucks. Note there are no traction motors on this, and there's just the gear that mounts it. And here we have 2 Baldwin truck frames. The AAR trucks were notable for this cast. I'm not sure it was part of the same casting, but they had like a cast brake cylinder mounted on the truck. Apparently that might not have been the smartest thing because it just added to the unsprung mass. I'm not sure. What is this? It's got a number. Oh, it's looks like SMS number 11. Yep. Not sure what happened to this guy. I'll look at the roster in just a second. What? Ah, crap. My cut and paste didn't work. I missed it. Shoot. Ugh. Yep. I gotta do this one again. Okay. Sorry about that. Fix that. Get this guy going. Here we have number 101. Now, I would get to know some of these a little bit better when we would go and visit them in operation at Penn Warner. I think I've already had a couple of things about that, but I went a couple additional years. They were swapped out, whatever one was there, with another one. I forget which one. I'd have to go and look it up. But there's like 101, 102s. Those are the core SMS units over the years. Number 11, a VO660. Wow, look at that. Not sure how well that's... Oh, that's owned by... Oh, that's New Hope and Ivyland. It's owned by... I'm guessing it's still there? I don't know. Or, wait, hold on. Yeah, I don't know what these notes are. SLRS number 101 is a DS44 1000, similar to the other one we saw for number 102. So, yeah, this is a VO660. Doesn't look like it, but it's missing that whole front end assembly that gives it that Art Deco look. Interesting on that early SMS diamond compared to the ones that say SMS lines in a better homage to the Reading. count how many different Baldwins there are. I mean, like, there's one of them working. This one I think is in operation. That B&O one was in operation. All those Erie Mining ones for parts. They do a pretty good. Job here. Look, this one I think they said that they was getting ready to go into the paint booth. Oh, there's one in the paint booth right now. Yeah, you can't do special schemes if you don't have your own paint booth. Just like, I know that Reading and Northern has a paint booth, but they've had issues because they think they would subcontract some of it, the work. Or maybe they just had, it's because they got a bunch of engines that didn't have automotive finishes. By automotive, they think of a way an automobile shines. The ones that were not painted with an automotive finish meant that, like, after a year, the paint was just super dull, like siding. Here we have number 302 in the paint booth. This was one that either had been up at Penn Warner or that we would get to know at Penn Warner. Alright, now we have crossed the river, and we're at Hook Interlocking or Marcus Hook PA, Hook Interlocking, whatever you want to, wherever I'm standing at any one point in time. Alright, back in the day, because Hook had a tower, my policy is that if it had a standing tower, I would regard the interlocking with the tower name. I've since changed this. Therefore, the interlock, since it has been re-signaled by Amtrak or re-interlocked, actually twice, it is effectively Amtrak hook interlocking. So if there's no tower photo or it's not about the tower, I'll put that. I label it as an interlocking as opposed to as a tower. That's a very, very odd distinction without a difference, but it just has to do with how I name things. Back when I was just starting out, tower photos were most of my output, so I put a special emphasis on them. Even though today, given how increasingly rare, as they've been closing and being knocked down, I don't quite tend to have that many towers of tower photos. I visited Hook a number of times, specifically in the early winter of 2020, just before COVID. In fact, I'm going to pull that up just as an emergency reference. I would say, it was not my last pre-COVID railfan trip. It was actually, for whatever reason, I caught the Amtrak Coca-Cola wrap train on that one. And it was the weather was much improved, much nicer. Sunny days in the winter can give you some fantastic lighting. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got going on with this guy. Amtrak 921 at Marcus Hook. Marcus Hook, my dad used to work in Wilmington, and I asked him why he always, he could, having now driven for quite some time, I realized that the drive to Wilmington is not that bad from southern New Jersey, especially if you're reverse commuting. like he was. But I still asked him why he never considered taking, the train down there. I think he said he had a couple of times. But the major issue is that most trains at the time would only run to Marcus Hook, because that's the last station in Pennsylvania. Whereas, even though Wilmington seems like a natural termination for the line, it was still, SEPTA wasn't going to do it unless Delaware paid, and the reason SEPTA didn't have to do it was because there was an interlocking at Marcus Hook, and they could turn the trains there. And just like if like SEPTA can't serve like Langhorne, Levittown without turning around in Trenton. I mean, in theory, they could turn on the Delaware River, but they think they've made themselves at peace with that. I'm going to change the actual name just to include that the Marcus Hook station is in this photo. That's a pretty good picture. The Marcus Hook station is a trailer at this point. Let's see what it looked like about a decade later, over a decade later. Wow, it's almost got the same paint. Fascinating. I mean, I closed it, but yeah. Here we have SEPTA Silverliner 4, number 132. Sometime around this time, they started getting their the Reading cow catchers replaced. I don't know what exactly that happened, but I think 132 would have been a former Reading unit, although the numbers did get swapped a bit when they did that whole PCB renumbering thing. So in this case, that SEPTA train. So in this case, I've skipped as I figured I would. I skipped this photo just because it was boring. I considered it to be quote unquote boring. Nothing was really pulled up on the signal there. However, there's still a good bit going on. A zoom shot through the interlocking. Oh, hey, we finished another round. Verify that I got them all. See what questions people have. What questions do we have? Yeah, so I'm trying to. I recently missed an SMS trip because it was midweek. That's one of the other things they don't. They can only do these things for midweek, and all the retirees on my NRHS chapter can go, but I'm at work. Maybe I'll see what I can do in the future. I might have some additional personal time to use in the near future to do that. So in this case, instead of crossing over on from track 4 to track 1 to go north, this train just stopped on track 1. Probably waited for that Amtrak to, because whatever to go by, and then it has a medium clear signal right here to proceed north, to cross over at Hook and proceed back to Philly. Again, I believe that Wilmington, most trains now do go to Wilmington after Delaware approved additional funding. Oops. Here we have Hook Tower, and the same signal bridge looking north. This is where I would start invoking the reference to Hook Tower. An interesting thing I'm going to mention, although it hasn't come up now, there's actually a public sidewalk immediately behind Hook Tower, so you can just sort of walk up and around it, and you're not having to be sketchy in that sort of situation there. It borders right on the back of row homes. The row homes have a little sidewalk, a public right of way immediately behind them. All right, where do I have that? Where do I have a picture of this? Yeah, there's a little sidewalk that runs right behind all those houses, immediately behind the tower. Here we have another more isolated photo of zoom of Hook. Again, me getting used to my new camera's capabilities. Making pretty good time here. Next. Oh, this was cool. So while we were waiting, so it appeared that the reason that the SEPTA was platforming on what appeared to be the reverse track was because a NS local or Conrail shared, NS local was coming up to the yard there. Let me get away from Pureland. So you can see this giant refinery complex. There's Marcus Hook. The station is just around in there, right there. There's Hook interlocking, and then this is the NS, the yard that NS uses to stage everything in this industrial zone. There's a fifth track through Hook that they can sort of roll through and then down and service the industry. There's also a big yard down there too. This yard is part of Conrail shared assets, and it can also be served by CSX coming in from the airport, coming in from Philadelphia down this yard down in here. So here I have 39, 93, 95 at your typical C44-9W. C40-9W back and then, because they had not yet gotten upgraded to the 4400. By the way, I'll just bring that up. From what I've heard, it wasn't technically an upgrade to 4400. They had a switch that would boost the engines to that extra, would take it from 4000 to 4400, and the crews would often just start leaving it engaged all the time, and eventually NS management gave up. But I might also be wrong. I heard, like I said, I heard from a crew that they had this switch in them, but in various notes on diesel shops say they were fully upgraded in 2013 or 14. So it depends on if upgrade means the switch was just removed or if they actually had to have something modified to get that extra power. The neat part here was that 9395 was leading a C40-8W number 8415. I'm pretty sure all the dash 8s are off. NS got rid of them all. Now they're short on power, but at the time you would still not only see some dash 8s, but they might be some Conrail ones. And here we have the opposite side of this guy. Whoa! I didn't even do that. Alright, so what I'm going to do is... Why am I skipping all these photos? It's so strange. Unless, like, they're just, like, later in the set, like, something got screwed up with my gallery, and it put them all down somewhere. I don't like this. That didn't straighten right. So I'm going to switch over which photo gets the original label. 'Cause that's a better photo. You know what? I bet I didn't know how to freaking rotate it. 'Cause I was all manually rotating back then, or not doing it at all. That was at some point someone pulled me aside and was like, "Dude, you got to make your photos better. They're all desaturated. You're overusing Clarify tool, etc., etc." So this is 132 and 131. Always takes me a while to remember on SEPTA, like, if you have a pair and they're sequential, which ones do you get? And I can always remember that the Reading, they started at 101 and they went to like 88 for a total of 87 units. So you know it starts on the 1 and goes one higher. Let's see what I called those back in the day. It's another one I skipped. Boy, it's not meeting my standards. Now you see I've moved. I went from the station to inside interlocking limits. Where can I show you this? Would have been here. I would have moved from the station out and around to right about there, with this Linwood branch hooks in. Passed around the 91 switch. And here we see the photo that I kept. Note SEPTA using its original colored destination signs with the R system. This would have then been R2 Marcus Hook. The signs were specific to the train's actual destination. So there was an R2 Baldwin, one of the rarest ones. I think the crew had to sign it out. That or like R3 Sicane. There was only like one train scheduled for it, and they had like no extra destination signs. So crews departing 30th Street Station would have to sign out the destination sign because they were not in a position to make a special custom order of one destination, for that train. I don't think I saved this photo either. Really don't know what I was thinking. Oops. Damn. Oh, maybe that was the one I saved. Oh, yeah, it was just cut differently. Hmm. I love how there's still a little Amtrak there, despite the fact the tower is, closed for tower business. That industrial building there has been somewhat recently downsized. That building there is still there, but like other ones in the parcel have been demolished and rendered into like scrap brick. Oh, here we go. So unfortunately, he was on track 1. I don't know if I was in the right position to capture him getting the restricting signal into the yard. Oh, and there's a dwarf. Don't forget that. That dwarf would be the 9N. Of course it would be 9N. The one on the branch is 8N. I'm probably going to need to rename this one anyway, but let's see what I have. Yeah, completely unacceptable name. At some point, I learned my lesson of naming signal stuff, and I just don't know what it is. There, that hit everything I needed. Cool. Next. Oh, yeah, so here's the unfortunate remains of the airline and CP valve unit. I was hoping to, I'd partly planned this to go and I'd seen on the train that they were, retaking the air switches out at Hook. Just wasn't there fast, in time. I thought I could roll in to get photos of the 89 switch and the 91, and I just was not in time to do it. Don't know how long I missed it by, but I missed it by some amount. The CP valve unit, this doesn't give you a good thing of what it's about. Yes, it's the valve that gates the air to the switch machines. These are important. Part of the reason you have these electro-pneumatic setups was because back in the day, reliably switching the higher amperage current was seen as more of a difficulty than just switching air. So a lot of work went into not only creating something that could switch, that could direct the air that could control air by an electric current, but could do it in a reliably safe way. Because remember, these have to sit and not throw the switch under a train very reliably, which is something that took a whole lot of effort to get that to happen. So a lot of checks have to be in that a train moving at any amount of speed just won't have the switch randomly want to throw. And that really was a problem with early power switches. Correspondence between the levers and what the switches actually were doing took a number of years and a number of accidents to get right. cool. Getting down there. $19 on this next set, so it's going to be a little bit long. Oh, the front pantograph was up. Fascinating. Print up on a piece of paper. Oh, I mean, give SEPTA a little credit. Yeah, no, when I say that this was a problem, I meant like 1890s, the 19-aughts. That's when it was a problem, not any time recently. But you had, when these, let me check that Amtrak one. Hey, you're right. Wow, I didn't notice that. Yeah. Yeah, but they were definitely. Oh, what's going on here? Okay, just a little hiccup with the thing there. Sorry. All right, here we have the 8N signal coming off the Linwood branch. This is the destination for quite a bit of the freight. NS will marshal it at Edgemore Yard, then run it up here when they when they've got a slot from Amtrak. And then they'll be free of conflicting movements to get it down where it needs to go. They'll still have to go through hook interlocking, but that's just going to be a matter of getting whatever signal they need, because they can use that side track to themselves. I'll also notice in one of the upgrades related to this resignaling effort was that the dwarf signals got the signals all got LED bulbs, including the dwarfs with these white LEDs. For 2007, this was probably one of the first times I'd seen this used. Jesus. Here we have another. Looks like some sun's trying to poke through here. Got some nicer lighting on number 93, on the 2. And I love the way the grass complements the Conrail blue. An interesting thing about the signals at Hook, and a couple other ones on the Philly to Wilmington NEC segment, is that the signal bridges use stepped position lights. This was something that was on the PRR documentation for a little bit. Might have been on a patent application, at least on their design goals. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, it's that the lower head is physically separate and advanced ahead of the upper head. The upper head is on the middle of that walkway. The lower head is on the front of the gantry, so the signals are actually not in a line. They line up side to side, so they're aligned horizontally, but they are offset vertically. Oh yes, and they do. You can see is getting the lunar restricting signal there. So let me see if I can. I might actually want to enhance that. Enhance. I don't know if I can. I kind of used some trickery before to do that. Yeah, it's gonna be tough, but it's there. You can see it. If you look. That's going to be the one end is restricting. There it goes. Cool. So I did get a picture of the restricting. Oh, here it is again. Yeah. There we go. Let's see what I can do to brighten this guy up. Yeah, you can definitely see its restricting indication there. Alright, he's got his signal into the yard. Now, I don't see him take it because I wasn't able to get myself into an appropriate position. Yeah, I'm definitely going to change this name around a little bit. Oh, I cut the other one. God, what is up with me? I must have definitely been thinking I had some sort of weird... This isn't even the right unit. It's 9395. Oh, never mind. So just another quick thing with hook there. Yep. Oops. I don't know why I'm getting some weird effects when I try to improve it. See, this was, I know that I was using a clarify tool on it. I try to avoid doing that now, but I'm getting different issues. Maybe I should. There you go. That made it look a lot better. What was that? 8415. That looks good. And here we see the old hook pipe airline. This would deliver the compressed air to the switches. With the 89 switch right there. Under the old hook, that would have had a different designation. Hook was one of the earlier tower closures, because by 1992 it was under CTEC. We have the 89 switch plus the freight train. This you can see that this is an almost brand new point machine, and some of the ones should still be air at the farther end that I didn't really want to hike down to. Here we have the northbound side of Hook Tower. Must not have had much choice in my my day to go out, because this weather is kind of been saying that, hold on, let me see if I can resize this better. There you go, right there. That's what I need. All right, I'll go. I'll keep that name. Oops. Never actually. Did I resize it? No, I didn't. And here we have the 9N. So this was off a small spur track. I think it's still there. I mean, I can look. There's that Linwood branch I was mentioning. It might have been removed. Nope, they still got it. Amtrak will use tracks like, oh yeah, this is for maintenance of way. You can see they have like a sort of a graded area. This is where they can bring on high rail vehicles, and then just move them wherever they're needed. High rail vehicles are not only used for maintenance but also inspection. A guy in a high rail truck is typically replaced the guy in the speeder or the track walker ages ago. Note that the 89 switch is reverse. Next. Onto the home stretch. Here we have the new M3 point machine for the 89 switch. There we go. I'll check the questions again. This could get a little bit long. Anything else going on here? Oh, got some people. Yeah, sorry about the 1 of 2. Yeah, it should be 2 of 2. I'll get these all up. I'll get 1 of 2 up tomorrow, but there wasn't as much NEC stuff. So you're saying the Linwood branch hasn't been seeing much traffic, or what? Because it looks like it would be, you know, pretty hard to replace that. Huh, interesting. They have access transponders quite a bit away from the signal. Maybe those are sort of just positioning ones. Well, it looks like it's used on this at the Route 15 crossing as of 2019. So part of this re-switch powering was an effort to they did involve some additional interlocking huts. I don't know exactly what they were doing to the control systems. I said Hook Tower was closed in the late 80s, so I'm not exactly sure what they would have needed to, like, Hook isn't any older than any of the other interlockings. So why did they do more stuff with this one? Not entirely sure. Although the old relay huts at Hook are still there and appear to still be used. So they are... Well, maybe not. That's strange. Oh, you know what? I'm wondering if the relays weren't in the tower. Like, they weren't in the tower, or if they didn't build the interlocking in the tower as a cost-saving measure. Because I don't see any of those big old, unless that's the one. Because I don't really see any of those big old, relay, you know, the big relay hut that you would need for a complete 4-track crossover. Puzzling. I don't like Amtrak doesn't. Amtrak went from one of the best railroads for station signs on their relay houses and stuff to one of the worst. Like that's awful. You can't see that. That appears to be the one I'm looking at right there. So yeah, maybe they had the relay stuff inside inside the tower and they wanted to get it out. That's definitely something I could see. Here we have the 91 switch also looking in that direction. All the building you're seeing in this actually has been demolished, except for that one is still there, but everything behind the relay hut has been demolished. It's like brick gravel. So all those buildings right there, they've been demolished. There's the old CP valve there. Huh, I keep getting closer. So there was something there, but that stuff with the barbed wire doesn't look like a relay hut. That's more like a communications one. I think I can get some Google Street View pretty close under that, actually. Nope, maybe not. 2007. Yeah, you got me of what their goal was, but it's entirely plausible that that Hook still had the relay interlocking logic inside, even if it had been long converted to, even if it had been a Model 14. Although I don't know, maybe it wasn't a Model 14. Maybe it was just maybe it was like a relay plant that was remote controlled to CTEC, and then finally had to be resignaled in 2007. When I say resignal, I mean logic, not necessarily signal replacement. I'm a whole bunch behind. Oh, I skipped this one. Why was I skipping stuff? Alright, that's the last photo at Hook. And we are back to South Jersey. We went back across the Commodore Barry Bridge, I'm sure, and now we're back to Paulsboro area. Here we have a CSX GP40-2, probably a Seaboard Heritage. They love that type. Number 4451. I don't think I saved this photo either. Nope, didn't save it. This is in the town of Paulsboro, south of the bridge. Again, remember that with that pushing platform? He went back over to see if he could catch it in service. This is when my railfan friend, Chuchubob, was way more actively engaged with what's going on. Today he still knows where everything is and is on the thing, but he was definitely jetting around more in his. I think he had just retired. Here we have an interesting version of what do you call a 4 men in a Jeep. If you get that reference from Vienna, when it was in the occupation period after World War II, you had the international patrols with a Russian, a British, American, and a Frenchman would patrol together, as sort of because of the four powers. So when Conrails shared assets, if you have a CSX NS units, that's sort of like the 4 men in a Jeep. But in this case, you have OG Conrail, which I believe would be a NS unit, it looks like it's CSX in this point. Anyway, we have an 8813 GP SD40-2. Anything in those 88s, if you remember your Crazy 8s, Runaway, those are SD40s. And behind it, I'm betting that's another CSX, but that one's in the 8667 series. Oh, that's 8667. I do have the CSX roster up if I needed to. Let's see if I can reuse the old one. Now I just gave it one thing here. Yeah, I'm gonna put them both in here. Because I like that number, 8667. Good number. It looks like this CSX SD40 is cab signal equipped. That yellow box on the cab is where you'd have your cab signal pickup and pickup relays. We have this guy, same one, just the other side. that looks like a brand new paint job too. Like earlier in this series, I showed a Dark Future CSX road unit, so I'm not sure why this Y4451 would be in one of the YN schemes or Bright Future. Let's quick check the CSX roster. 4451. GP40-2 4451. These are all ex-con. Wait. Oh, wait. 445. Huh. Why did that say GP40 in the first one I looked at? Yeah, I zoomed in. That was GP40-2. This one says GP38-2. Maybe they got had the turbos pulled or something. That's very strange. Wait. Yeah, 4451. Yep, there it is. Got repainted, hung around shared assets a while. Probably a lot of these are Chuchubob's photos. I don't know what I'm looking for. Next. Up here's the Paulsboro yard office. Got one more after this one. Note the street running kind of there. Or a crossing. I can't tell. And one more. Number 8667. Yeah, this was definitely the time when hunting for Conrail painted units was both something you did, but wasn't futile either. But that's another thing that seemed to be everywhere and then nowhere. Even up until 2009, 10, 11, I would see them around Gainesville in Georgia, and then suddenly they were just like all gone. All right. Wonderful. Well, I thank you again for showing up. I'm going to check questions in just a second. Sorry for the length of time. Rail Pictures has a GP40. It's marked as a GP40. Diesel Shop has it as GP38. So there you go. Yeah, I just don't know my. I guess like what isn't a YN2? It seems like everything's that. No, I think that back in the day, this is the photos I skipped in this set, and they skipped a lot of them. I don't know why. Okay. I skipped a lot of them, and I believe it would have been possibly due to some sort of either time or size constraint. Now, I had unlimited web hosting at this time. I'm positive I did. So it could simply be, I think part of it was I had a new camera. I've only had it for 6 months. I'm taking a lot more photos. And I'm taking a lot more photos. And I think that it was an early recognition that I was falling behind. So I would try to increase. I would try to be more selective in what I had. I was like, oh, now that when you had, quote unquote 96 photos a roll, you still took the photos a little more judiciously. And then when I had 1,000 photos per roll, I think that I overcorrected in one, but I was overcorrecting my overcorrection of taking too many photos, so I had to be more. I had to, filter them out initially. That's the only thing I can think of. Let's check my photo index here. So, oh no, okay. Somewhere I have, and I don't know where it is. I'd have to look it up. Somewhere I saved out a this index, but it was on my old hosting area, and it had all the dates that I would have initially uploaded these, because you can see how I fell behind. But these are all dates 2012, 2019. This is after I had to switch providers. I'll see if I can find that original file for you guys, and I'll talk about it next time. All right. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Oh yeah, who knows about the KC stuff? I honestly like the gray, and I haven't seen that in a while. I'm not a huge fan of the KC, and you know why? It's because it reminds me of G&W. It's very busy, and it reminds me of very G&W, and I just, anything even in the same universe as a G&W scheme just turns me off, because they're just everywhere. So, anyway, thank you so much. You guys have a great day. I gotta roll. And I hope you enjoyed it. Check back for anyone who missed part 1. I'll get these loaded up. It might be a couple weeks. I have to get some additional video content to come up with that. So stay tuned, and thank you so much. Thanks especially Jessica for getting in here. I don't know when I'll be back. Might be a little while. At the very least, look for me on. I'll see what I can do on July 3rd, but I'm going to be out for fireworks that day. Alternatively, look on the night of Saturday, June 10th. I think I have a one-nighter that I can put up there. All right? Have a great night. I'll see ya.